All right, Bryce. So why the heck should I buy PlusThis, huh?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the best way for people to understand why they should even consider using PlusThis is to really ask themselves what kind of marketing do they want to do this year? What's really like in front of them as far as do they want to do some Facebook ads or are they doing a lot of webinars or do they want to make more evergreen kind of like sales funnels, those things. And when I typically work with new customers of PlusThis or people who are prospects, I just like to kind of learn more about what they're doing in their business and what they want to do with their marketing. And then I can usually show them a handful of things how PlusThis will either make it quicker to do the things that they want to do or improve the conversions on the marketing they want to do, or open up some doors to try some things that they've never done before but always wanted to because they're afraid to
Well,
do it, for
okay, so
example.
here's the biggie. I thought Infusionsoft was all-in-one software. Why do I have to spend more money for some third-party application?
No, that's a great question. So the reason why you would go with something like PlusThis is we've built a library of extra features for Infusionsoft. There's over 30 of them now to do a lot of the things that Infusionsoft just doesn't have built in. The actual story of PlusThis came about because we were working with so many clients that wanted to do one extra simple thing that Infusionsoft didn't do. Like, for example, being able to run all of your webinars with Gotowebinar, but be able to register them using an Infusionsoft form and being able to follow up with people inside of Infusionsoft and not have to like import and export lists back and forth between Gotowebinar. And so we just had a bunch of these clients that had one or two different things that Infusionsoft didn't have baked in, and they're asking our developers to if they could make like a little extra feature that they could use for their campaign that they had a specific use case in mind for. And eventually we had like a dozen or so of these things, and we thought it would make a great product for not just the top best of the best in Infusionsoft, but for everyone. And so that's kind of how we came up with this library. And you'll find that it's a lot of these useful features that most marketers will have at least one or two uses out of this library just at the get-go. And we've done it in a way where we understand Infusionsoft users already are paying a monthly fee. It's expensive for some of them, and we didn't want to like nickel and dime them where they had to buy every little feature that they wanted to do. So instead, we just make our whole library available for a monthly fee, and they can use whatever ones they want, and they can ignore the rest. And it really is just there to help power up their marketing, basically.
All right, so I see some cool things here, and I've used this on and off for a while, but more off than on. So
Sure.
I appreciate you diving in. I mean, the GoToWebinar connection, it's at the top. So are these like in order of importance or features most often used or what?
Yeah, so we've started with more of our most popular features at the very top right now. And we've built in search, so if there's certain features that you end up wanting to use more often, like video triggers, for example, you can just start typing in the names and you can find the apps you want. But I can go through a few of the more popular ones because this is what we typically see the majority of our users coming to PlusThis for.
Okay.
So I've already talked a little bit about GoToWebinar, but Smart Links is another really cool thing. Wes, have you ever done any kind of marketing launches?
I love doing marketing lunches, and I'm hungry right now. So,
Yes.
all right. So
No, that's a
marketing
good
launch,
point.
of course,
Yeah, so
all the
you
time.
know how a launch usually goes. You build up a huge list, right? And then you hold some kind of big event where you announce like all the great things of how you help people and what you can help them accomplish. And then you probably have some offer for them to take part of your program. And then you're probably going to have some time commitment where you're going to cut off that offer where they can't sign up for it anymore, or you can only take a certain number of clients. And then you probably don't do another launch like this for a little while. And so that is a typical launch for a lot of people. But what we found is that's a lot of work, and sometimes people don't have the huge list to start with, or they're afraid of doing this thing and only getting like 1 or 2 new clients and still not being able to really do what they wanted to do with their business based on those numbers. And they're more interested in doing like an evergreen launch or having some kind of expiring offer that they can just run all the time and not have to worry about running this campaign once and it's done and having to wait another 6 months to do it. So we created a feature called Smart Links to really make it easy for people to do those kinds of things. And I'll show you this one really quick because I think this is the one that we recommend to most of our clients, and most of our customers will end up using this as well. So you just saw there is how easy it is to connect to your Infusionsoft account. I forgot that I didn't even connect our demo one yet, so that's an easy one to get started with. But say you're doing a launch, Wes, and you want to be able to have it so when someone has a certain tag, they're eligible for that special offer, and you want to be able to send them to like your special offer webpage. So we'll just say this is like a special offer link in here, and they have some eligible tag for it. And then if they don't have that tag, you want that link to send them to like an offer expired page. That is how you would do like an evergreen expiring offer with a smart link, which is really neat. And at the end of the day, what it does, I don't know if it'll work because I didn't put real links in here, but we'll see if we can get something. Yeah, good. You'll have a link like this that you can just put in your emails. When people click it now, Infusionsoft's going to see if they have the tag you said. So if they were eligible, they go to that awesome page for the offer. And if you remove it after 7 days or whatever that cutoff is, they go to your offer expired page. And this way you can have one campaign that is running all the time, and you can bring them in with some kind of lead magnet. You can give some goodwill, you can educate them, you can train them, and then you can give your offer, and you can say it's going to expire in 3 days, and then you can remove that tag. And this link's always going to work based on those tags and give them the special offers or give them the offer expired. So it's a really cool way to kind of do those launches, but to have it running all the time, not have to worry about running a list through the key ones.
So let's break this down. So let's say it's January 1st and you want to launch a course and you're saying, hey, the cart closes January 31st.
Yep.
But you're saying somebody could do a launch, or people could log in, opt in, and say, hey, the cart closes in 7 days. So that could be like a running 7-day window. So instead of worrying about July or January 31st, the clock starts the moment they opt in. And so you add a tag, hey, this tag is good for 7 days. Then the rule, now we need to build that into Infusionsoft though, right? That after the person enters, add a tag, delay timer 7 days, remove tag, and then PlusThis will simply look to see and then be the routing police, the decision diamond in the cloud basically that routes them to the, hey, I'm sorry you missed it page.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're dead on. So that's another point that is really good to make. So when you have one of these, if Wes signs up for your special funnel with this offer in it on Monday and his expiration is in 7 days, then his emails will be able to say his offer expires in 7 days, and they actually will. Well, if I sign up for that same program but I do it a day later, mine's going to expire on the Tuesday after that. And same for everyone else that comes through it. So they're always going to have their unique close cards without you having to worry about doing it all at once, basically.
Now, what happens if my buddy signs up and then I sign up, so he goes through it and he tells me about it a day later, and his cart is closed, but he looks over at my computer and says, dude, how come you still have a cart open? I mean, does that ever come up, or is it just not happening?
That's a good point. They could, if you took both of your emails and put them side by side, you're totally right. Like his email would say, my cart's ending on January 1st, and how come yours is saying it's ending on January 2nd? That's exactly how it would really play out. but we never really have that situation come up too often where people are seeing each other's like emails side by side on like their close dates. So yeah, it's not really too much of an issue there, but it's a really great way to incentivize people to sign up for something when there's some kind of deadline on it. Where if you just leave it open forever, then it's
Right.
likely that it'll just be forgotten sometimes. Yeah,
Okay. That's
so
cool.
that's a really cool little feature there. Let me go back to some of the other ones. Another one that's really good with those kind of like expiring offers or evergreen kind of things is this what's the date feature. So a lot of our customers and a lot of Infusionsoft users, they usually have some kind of date that they want to be able to reference inside of their emails for maybe it's a 7-day free trial that someone signs up for, right? And you want to know what is the date for this individual person who signed up for a 7-day trial so that I can tell them in an email, hey, don't forget your trial ends on Friday, January 1st or whatever it is, versus Amy who might sign up another time and hers is going to be a whole different date, right? So we have a tool for making it really easy to do those kind of date features where you want to, at the end of setting up one of these features, you're going to get an HTTP post. Have you done a lot of campaigns with HTTP posts before, Wes? Because I can show how that kind of works if this is
Yeah,
maybe some of the
I've
people
done a
who use
few,
it.
and obviously the Gotowebinar integration uses the HTTP post,
Yeah.
so it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so you're going to just get one of those, and when it's run, it's basically going to look at, okay, what was the date when someone hits this HTTP post? And then we're going to, in this example, say it's like 7 days, not 70, but
Now,
7 days.
I mean, Infusionsoft can create custom dates and fields, so is this just a good way? Is it a nice feature because we don't have to use up the 100 custom fields in Infusionsoft?
Yeah, you'll see what it does pretty nicely here. And the big thing is right here where it shows you the actual formats of these dates. So we're not just storing a date. Infusionsoft, you're correct, can know like what it is for 7 days after whenever they hit these things. But what the nice thing is we can now format it. So when we store this date, we're storing it in an Infusionsoft format or in a human format so that it looks like something you could actually read in an email. So in this example, like we wanted to say when we merge in this field, so it could be like a trial expiring is going to be the name for our human field. And actually, I'd have to make one really quick. Expiring dates, expiring trial human date. So now we have a custom field where we're storing this human date. But now when we want to put that into our emails, we can easily just merge in this field, and it's going to be a unique human-looking date every time someone gets the email with this expiration in it. And that's what's kind of what sets it apart from what you can do with bread and butter Infusionsoft right now. I think that, yeah, that's the way that works. And then you'll also see how it looks as a feature when they hit the HTTP post here. So we'll just do a demo one. And I can pull up Infusionsoft too so you can see an example. So if we did this, now we'd take this HTTP post and we would just, let's see if I have one, expiring evergreen offer. There we go. And so in this example, they might be signing up for some video training. And then right after that, that's when we want to find out what the date is after that much time. Put it in there, it's done. Now when we want to have an email that mentions that date, we can just merge in that date right there, and it's good to go. So it'll say your offer expires on the way it looks when we set it up.
Okay, so
Boom,
really
Tuesday,
it's
June
more
20th.
of a formatting thing than anything else because
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a great one to combine with the smart links that we showed you too, because that way you can have this evergreen launch kind of campaign where your emails are actually going to say like a specific date when it closes, and the links and everything are going to work with that date as well, which is a really cool combination.
Oh, yeah, I see what's happening because otherwise, yeah, Infusionsoft wouldn't do the math. It wouldn't pre-populate that custom field. So this is doing the math for you and pre-populating the field and putting it in a human form.
Exactly.
Okay.
It does a lot of that work for you.
Yep, gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, and another really popular one, I'm going to skip a few of these. We might come back later. Have you ever wanted to do like a text to opt-in?
Sure.
Yeah. So we have a neat little, actually, I don't even have it set up right now on this one, unfortunately. But let me hop into my other account, which does. So we have an SMS Sequences feature, which lets you do that typical kind of submit slides or text slides to this number, and we'll send you these messages and whatever else you need for your actual slide retrieval. So the way this feature works, which is kind of unique compared to a lot of the other SMS features in the Infusionsoft space, is we are an integrator with Twilio. And Twilio, what they do is they are an SMS provider. That's where you buy your SMS phone number you want to use.
Right.
That's the guys that handle all that. We connect with your Twilio account and then make it do the things you want it to do with Infusionsoft, basically, whether that's having a text to opt-in, or if you want to be able to automate like a reminder text to go out 15 minutes before you start your webinar. So that's what our features are built to do. And it's been really cool the way that we've done it, because when we let our customers own their own SMS number like this, they're the only ones that are going to be using this number. So they're not going to be affected on deliverability if someone else spams their customers with some spammy SMS messages and people complain about it. They're also going to pay a whole lot less per text because they own their own number now. Owning a number on Twilio is $1 a month, and then every text you send is really, really cheap. Like in the US alone, it's 0.0075 cents a text.
Right.
Where when you're going through another third party that they are the ones that own the Twilio number and they're just letting you use their number to do it, you're usually paying between 3 and 5 cents a text in the US. So we're saving our customers a lot of money. We don't make any cut on every text that goes out through our services. We're just the person that does the integration to make it really easy for you to do like a text opt-in, or your reminder kind of text is your one-way kind of text stuff.
Right. And yeah, it's something that I learned, I don't know, a couple of years ago about that. People may not realize when you get a short code, I text the word, slides to, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are very expensive numbers to own on your own. So you don't. So people don't realize that number, 72,000, 76,000, whatever, is like a server at GoDaddy, with hundreds or even thousands of people using it, almost unlimited, theoretically, right? Because people could buy any word, sales, slides, whisper, plus this, text hello, text lunch to any of those numbers. So, if somebody is a spammer, just like your email server. So if somebody is on a server and they spam a bunch, the spam police look at the IP address of that server, and anybody else on it is guilty by association. And so, I just want to explain that to anybody listening. So that's why having your own number has a big benefit, in that you won't get impacted by a spammer.
Yeah. And I don't want people to feel like, oh no, it's a lot of work if I have to get my own number or go through Twilio. It's really very similar to how we integrate with like Gotowebinar. So if someone has a Gotowebinar account, we integrate with Gotowebinar and make it talk to Infusionsoft. It's very similar to the way Twilio works as well. You get a Twilio account, you can purchase numbers. Even if you want to get a different number, you can do it inside of our app. So maybe you have Australian customers, not Australia, and you can find numbers using this. And yeah, it's really easy to just buy it from the app as well if you need to. So yeah, even though we don't own the Twilio number, it's still going to be really easy for you guys to do everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the SMS one. That's really popular. Another really popular one are our Facebook features. Do you do any advertising on Facebook right now, Wes?
I have been doing a little and am planning on doing more.
Yeah. So we just talked with a client who they spent last year over $600,000 on Facebook ads. That is incredible. And one of the things that got them really excited when they learned about PlusThis was the ability to do their syncing with Infusionsoft through PlusThis that goes along with their Facebook custom audiences. So just to give a really quick definition of what this feature will do is inside of Facebook they have a thing called custom audiences, and those are kind of like tags in Infusionsoft. So you might have a custom audience for everyone that lives in a certain zip code. If you're doing like seminars in Arizona or Phoenix, Arizona, you want to get all the zip codes within 10 miles of that area, for example. That could be a custom audience that you name like Phoenix downtown or something. You might also do a custom audience for people who have certain interests. So they might be people who are interested in the Phoenix Suns, and you're doing a special promotion towards those people. And so you can have any number of these custom audiences, and they all sit and live inside of Facebook. But the trouble and pain that people had was when you have people inside your Infusionsoft campaigns and you want to match them up with a custom audience or turn them into custom audiences. So maybe you have your customers and you want to make them a custom audience in Facebook. Or maybe you have prospects that sign up for a webinar and you want to make a webinar custom audience. You would have to export your list from Infusionsoft, import them into Facebook, name that custom audience, and keep it updated all the time. So if you ever had more people sign up for a webinar down the road and you wanted to add them again to this audience, you'd have to manually upload your list from Infusionsoft, put them back into Facebook, and likewise download them back from Facebook sometimes and move them into Infusionsoft. So that's a lot of work, and it's a lot of trouble for people that have these really interesting funnels that they just want to be able to show relevant ads depending on where someone is in a funnel. And so what Facebook audience triggers do is it lets you automatically add or remove people to Facebook custom audiences whenever they hit our HTTP post with this feature in it. So a good example of a use case with this would be, let's say we're running a webinar and we want to start with an ad that invites people out to a webinar. And so in Facebook we'll probably have just a little custom audience for our prospects that we want to invite to this. So we can do one, we'll just use some of these ones in here, but you can make new ones in here. So let's do like a webinar custom audience prospects demo. Boom. All right, so now we have a webinar demo we can do here. And when they sign up for the webinar, we no longer want them to see ads inviting them to a webinar, right? Because that's redundant. They've already done that. We don't need to spend money showing people who've already signed up for our webinar ads promoting our webinar. So once they get in our funnel, like let's do a little example here in Infusionsoft. We can build this while we do it here.
So basically you have two audiences. You have the invitation prospect audience, then you have the registered for webinar audience.
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, so let's play, we'll just make a really simple funnel here. So let's say this is like your registration page here, register for webinar. Let's put this in the right order really quick. So they've registered, then they're going to go through and they're going to get some kind of like reminder sequence to actually attend the webinar, and then they're going to, let's say they actually attend it, maybe have some kind of tag that indicates they attended, and obviously this is a really simple one, attended webinar. And then after they've attended, you might want to promote whatever it was that you offered in the webinar. So this would be like your sales promotion and so on. You also might have a tag for people who didn't attend. And you want different ads for each of these different groups, right? So, and then likewise here, you might have a follow-up one that's like, attend our next webinar. All right, so when someone comes through and at this stage they're seeing an ad to come to the webinar, then they come in here, they've actually registered. We want to put in one of our custom Facebook audiences to remove them from oh shoot, let me get the right thing. This is going to be an HTTP post. And this will be for one that removes them from webinar invitation ads. Cool. So as you're going through it, they're going to be removed from different Facebook audiences as they go through your funnel, basically. So once they've registered, they're going to start seeing ads to remind them to actually attend the webinar. And then once they've attended, they're not going to see any of the ads that were before it, and they're going to start seeing ones to go and purchase the promotion you did.
Is that like where these API calls come in, like every minute or every 15 minutes or whatever, it just synchronizes and updates the list inside of Facebook?
Exactly. So when you make one of these features, so this is a demo one, we'll show you. The way it's going to work is it's going to hit our feature URL inside of their HTTP post. And when this gets hit, Infusionsoft is basically going to look at the contact that hit that and go, okay, when they hit this, we're going to tell Facebook to remove them or to add them to this custom audience. And then you can make some that remove them from custom audiences too. So that's how you're constantly adding and removing people to the appropriate custom audiences as they go through their funnel.
Right, but is that
so like it's a really cool
every 5 minutes or every hour, or I mean, how?
It's as soon as Facebook lets us. It's instantly on our end letting Facebook know that this person needs to be added or removed to the next audience. And then I'm not sure what Facebook doesn't really publish how often they do their queues, but it's whenever the next one's going to hit. Okay. And usually it's less than 3 hours. Like 3 hours max is what we've ever seen. And they're really quick most of the time too.
Right.
But it's not a really set time that Facebook does it. It fluctuates from a couple minutes to like an hour.
Right. Okay.
It's pretty typical though.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's been a really interesting one too. There's a ton of these different features, but countdown timer, that is a really fancy way of doing countdown, like your typical countdown timer you see on a sales page.
Right.
The biggest problem that people have with those is whenever you set one of those up, like on a WordPress or whatever, what does that countdown timer ask you to do? It asks you to put in a fixed set date, right? Like it's going to count down to July 3rd, and you don't really have a choice of, well, I want that countdown timer to be different for every person that comes to that page. I want it to be unique to what their individual countdown is, right? And some of the things we talked about before with the smart links and the expiring offers and stuff. So our countdown timer lets you actually count down to someone's specific date and time found in a contact field. So when we did that, like, what's the date? Or we said, okay, what's 7 days from this time hitting this HTTP post? We want to store that. We can now reference that date, and now when they come to this page, they're going to see a date or a countdown timer that matches up to this date, and it's going to be unique to every person that comes to that page. So that's really effective for sales funnels and things like that, where you want to be able to have a personal expiration for every one of your
Okay,
contacts
so
that
this
comes through
wouldn't
the
be
phone.
a generic page because obviously the system doesn't know anything about them until they become a contact inside of Infusionsoft.
Yes.
But once they're a contact, then I could say, so maybe so I've got a webinar coming up tomorrow, right? So I could have a
Hmm.
landing page, with the offer. Let's say they don't buy tomorrow.
Yep.
I could have a 4th of July special. So we're recording this on the 28th of June. The webinar's on the 29th. So I could have a countdown, leading up to the 4th of July. So because they've registered for the webinar, then the countdown timer starts relative to them, and that's where that would get updated, right?
Exactly. You're
Okay.
totally right. And you'll see that here, exactly what you described. Because you're
And
smart. You know how Infusionsoft works.
is this only for
It won't know.
WordPress, or can it be on
Oh,
the HTML page?
yeah, any HTML page, exactly. So you take your code. This is like the little widget where you want to display that countdown timer, and then this is your link generator. So this is where you put in, okay, we're going to put this on the URL plusthis.com or whatever it is, and it's going to automatically give you the link to use in your Infusionsoft emails, because this is how it knows, okay, it was Wes that actually clicked this link, and he's got an expiration date that we're pulling right from here that we're going to use in the actual countdown. So that's how it makes it unique to every one of your Infusionsoft users that comes
I
to it.
embed that
But
code
it's
on the
exactly how you
landing
explain.
page, and I use that link. So I would create a merge field, a campaign merge field, or a campaign link, right? And just use that in the follow-up emails to those that either did not buy or did not attend.
Exactly.
Okay.
So whenever you want to send them to that page with the countdown timer, you just use this link in any of your Infusionsoft emails, and you're good to go. And you can make it say like, check out the offer, and then just put this as the link behind it. So it doesn't have to be like a really messy long link or anything like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really nice one. Another one I saw while I was skimming down here that's really interesting, and I don't think a lot of people realize it because it's got the worst name ever, is math. Have you ever wanted to do loyalty programs or ever experimented with that before?
I would like to.
Yeah. So that's what I should probably rename this thing, because that's what it's usually used for. But it really does, it's named well for what it does, which is math. But what the use case for this feature is usually to reward someone for doing some kind of task that you want them to do X number of times. So maybe you want your users or your visitors of your website to purchase purchase some kind of product 10 times, and then you give them some kind of bonus if they do that. Or maybe they're watching a certain number of videos and they unlock something if they do that. Or maybe they're losing a certain amount of weight, and if they lose more than 10 pounds, you want to reward them for that. So if you want to do any of those kinds of things, you can use math to do that. And it's really simple too. You literally you pick a custom field. So in one of those examples, like I shared, we have a personal trainer that likes to, when a client starts out with them, they let them know, okay, here's what my original weight is when I weighed in, right? And then we're going to subtract whatever their original weight is from another weight. So let's say you're that personal trainer and you're checking in with your clients every 2 weeks, maybe it's a month. And in the form that you send them, you ask, okay, what's your current weight? We're going to see how you're doing with your goals, blah, blah, blah. So they put that in there. And so you're catching all these weights, and then you're taking your final calculation. So we're taking their original weight minus their current weight, and we're going to store that in another field here. We'll just call it a weight. And now what this lets us do is we can now set up a decision diamond in a campaign where if that result is greater than 10, if they've lost more than 10 pounds, they're going to get a different follow-up from people who lose less than 10 pounds. And maybe that follow-up is, hey, congratulations on losing 10 pounds. You're awesome. Here's a free, I want to send you one of my free DVDs that has some extra little like fitness exercises or whatever. or maybe you're going to do some other kind of things that you want to reward them with. But if any of those kind of programs, you can totally set up with math, which is really cool for that kind of stuff.
Okay, so it's going to calculate original minus current. It's going to store the change. It's going to store the change, and that's a custom field, right?
Yeah, that's a custom field.
So the decision diamond just looks at that change
Weight.
greater than. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can do this for any kind of
what about
programs you want to do.
I mean, what else could that be used for? I mean, I'm selling stuff.
Yeah, loyalty.
I don't know. I mean, how could I use that right now? I saw total spend or average spend or.
Yeah, that's true.
What
You
about
can add up their.
What about just encouraging them? I guess you had one like page view, but that's different. So I mean,
or watching videos or things like that.
Track like email opens or clicks or like to see if someone's really engaged. Hey, this person's, I guess that's kind of lead scoring though. So we already have that ability.
Yeah. So anywhere you want to store something in a custom field, you can use those to do calculations. Or you instead of a custom field, you might have a certain number that you want to compare it to. And so like you can make this like 10 or whatever. And that would be just a little math calculation you're using with your own numbers that you put in, comparing it to some kind of original custom field there. We've had people use this for like shipping calculations. So they put in how much does the package weigh or whatever when they're fulfilling different things. And then they use that to calculate how much the shipping would cost. And that's more like a process implementation use case for this. But there's a lot of different ways people have used math before, but I don't think a lot of people know about it. That's why I just wanted to bring it up here.
Calculations is cool.
There's some creative people. They see math and they go, no, that doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah, doing that for shipping calculations is cool because I know people.
Yeah.
I've gotten burned with international,
Yes.
And, okay, yeah, that's worth looking into.
Yeah, so if you know the math for what it costs you to ship something and it's based on a certain weight or whatever, this is a really easy way to automate it so that you can send the customer, hey, here's what it'll cost for like shipping or whatever kind of things.
Right.
And you can use decision diamonds based on that. So maybe there's different thresholds they fit in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
One other one maybe, and then we'll go into like an overall overview of this, is video triggers. So this is a really popular feature where anytime you want to be able to tag someone after they've watched a certain amount of a video. So a lot of our customers have like a YouTube video. Let's pull one up here. It doesn't really matter. And we'll do the first one here. And we're just going to get the embed code. So they might have a video in a training program. And they want to know if people, out of all the people who buy, how many of them watch this video halfway through it, and versus all the way through it, versus maybe 75% of the way through it. So you might have these different tags that you want to apply based on how long they're watching these videos. So you can do one at 30 seconds, you can do one at 60 seconds, you can do one at, you can keep adding them. They go on and on and on. And then we give you a little embed code when you're done that you can just put on your website. Again, it looks really pretty much the same way that the countdown timer works. We give you the code, you put it on your website, and then this is where the video shows up, and this is how we'll track it. We do have these little buckets, so if you have, it's a little different depending on if you're using some of these membership programs like Customer Hub and Memberium. So that's why we give you the access to those there. And then likewise, the way that we know if someone from your Infusionsoft is doing this is we put in your little link generator. So put in the page for where you put in this video, and then you can use the link down here, and this will tell us, okay, it was Wes that did it, so he's the one that we need to tag when he watches 30 seconds of the video or 60 seconds of the video.
Gotcha.
And that's how a video trigger works. I know, like if you want an example of a use case, Frank Kern uses these all the time for a lot of his big, long videos. He has some training videos that are like an hour long, and he is very good about rewarding people for staying all the way to the end and watching the whole video. And if they do, he puts them on a whole different follow-up than people who bail on his videos in the first like minute or so.
Right.
And so he'll make it so if you watch all of his video, he'll send you like a bonus video, and he'll also start reaching out to you with more of a touch sales campaign where he'll actually have a human reach out and see if you're interested in the product. If you have any questions, feel free to call, like that kind of thing. Where if you bail right away, you're never going to get a number to actually reach a human.
Right.
You haven't earned it yet. So it's a really cool way to value your time and automate gauge the interest of people who are actually consuming your content versus people who are just bailing right away, and you don't want to waste your time with those people.
Yeah.
Or you want to send them something different because they obviously weren't very interested in that first video you had them watch or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so we have over 30 of these different ones. I think I've touched on most of the popular ones. I'm not going to dive into any other ones, but some of these are just really straightforward, like split testing.
I have 7 hours blocked out. My wife's she's shoving case tickets under the door. We're going.
Yeah, there's split testing. So if you ever wanted to split test emails, we've got that.
Nice.
Got ones for calculating customer value if you like to know like how much customers' total purchases add up to, the average spend and total spend of your customers. That's a really easy way to do it. We've had a lot of customers, like just today I had someone on Facebook ask about this. How do I make it so it's really easy for our customers to upload a file to their Infusionsoft contact record? We make that possible. There's a lot of like home loan people that there's tons of paperwork, right? And you don't want to move them on to the next step in the process until you've received the next like paperwork that they need to finish doing, right? So that's a great way to do that inside of Infusionsoft and automate it. We've done the humanized Infusionsoft dates. We talked about what's the date. A lot of these other ones like split name, set owner, these could be really small things, but they're really powerful for like implementers that have a specific need for like if you have a lot of salespeople, it's really important to set the right owner to it. So you might use a feature like that. Cycler is one that's been really interesting too. When people get carried away, or not carried away, but maybe they have a lot of opt-ins, right? And have you ever had someone opt into like all of your things all at once? And you understand what a nightmare that could be if they end up getting 6 emails from you every day for the next like 10 or 20 days because they opted in for everything you have. And each of those has its own campaign or whatever. Cycler lets you basically tell it in what order, if they opt in for, say you have 5 different lead magnets, which one should they receive first and complete that campaign before they go on to the next one. And you can let them know in these campaigns like, hey, thanks for signing up for this stuff. We're just going to give it to you one at a time so it's not overwhelming. Don't worry, your guides are coming or whatever, that kind of thing.
Right.
So that way you don't overwhelm them, basically. That's another big one.
That's cool.
I think those are some.
I have had people get mad because I do have a lot of lead magnets, and I had people find them and opt in and then complain or opt out and mark as spam. I was like, dude, you asked for it, you know?
Exactly. No, totally. It's a very common pain that Infusionsoft users have because you do want to try multiple opt-ins and you do want to see what works better, and then you don't want to have people mark it as spam or complain because they're getting too much email. So this is a good way to be able to still have lots of opt-ins but not overwhelm your customers with too many emails all at once.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, so
into that.
That's a quick guide of the features. This is kind of just a quick look at how it looks once you've set up a few, so you can see all your configured features. If you needed to go and actually look at your settings, you can do that here. You can play around and change those if you need to. It's really easy to search for different ones. If you are looking for like your Facebook one or whatever, you can just search for them there.
Right.
But we've made it really simple. You can see that your features are running, so you can go, wow, this is cool. It set a free trial date an hour ago. Or it just gives you a little bit of confidence that everything's working. Some of these resources are really helpful too. We have a user group of over, I think it's close to 1,000 people that all use PlusThis. People come in there all the time to ask questions. If they need any help, we have lots of friendly people that will help you with any kind of marketing questions, really. Our idea guides, this is a page that I think is super valuable for most people who are new to PlusThis, or even have used PlusThis but maybe not used a lot of the different features there. Because this is where we post a lot of videos that show how to do different things with PlusThis, like syncing your Gotowebinar with it, doing retargeting with Facebook ads in an Infusionsoft funnel. You can do some things like making expiring offers that are evergreen. And the page is just full of videos, and they're all just ideas that you can use in your marketing to get more out of it too.
Right.
But yeah, that is pretty much a quick overview and some detailed, in-depth stuff on some of the popular features of PlusThis. But if anyone has any questions, we're always happy to do little demos, and we're running webinars every month, and lots of ways for people to contact us if they ever have a specific question about PlusThis.
Right. All right. Very nice. Mr. Bryce Christensen. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it.